Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Quizy and Friends podcast, a space where we want to include each and every one of you watching from around regionally, continentally, and even globally. We want to include everyone, the conversations that we're going to be having. And May being the Mental Health Awareness Month, today we're talking all things mental health. We're going to be addressing this crucial and often overlooked issue, which is mental health and substance abuse, right here in Lesotho. Recent studies have revealed that approximately 20.8% of the population, equating to around 431,000 individuals, are living with mental health disorders. Alarmingly, Lesotho has one of the highest suicide rates globally, with 87.5 suicide-related deaths per 100,000 people. And substance abuse is also a significant concern because a study conducted in 2 rural districts here in Lesotho found that 13% of adults reported moderate to severe substance use problems, with excessive alcohol consumption being the most prevalent. A further 70% of patients treated for substance abuse identified alcohol as their primary substance of abuse. And to help us understand all these pressing issues and these numbers, we're joined by Tebello Mochaba, who is a clinical psychologist and with an extensive experience in mental health and addiction. We'll explore the underlying factors contributing to these challenges, discuss effective interventions, and consider how we can support those affected. Whether you or someone you know is grappling with these issues, this episode aims to provide valuable insights and resources. And without wasting any more time, Tebello, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
How are you? Good. I'm good. And you look very good. Thank you very much. Like you said, I'm good. I have to honor the invite.
I must. Thank you so much.
Listen, for someone that does not know that, or that wouldn't understand what we mean when we talk about mental health disorders, how would you describe it, just as an umbrella term?
Ooh.
Or do we need to break it down?
That's such a loaded question. But basically, we're referring to the mental health illnesses that can come about when your brain really is dysregulated, which in turn affects the rest of your nervous system as well. So mental health disorders, mental health illnesses, really. Yeah.
And I know on conversations that we've had previously, you've always said you want to sort of explain them. If you can try to explain some of the ones that everybody always talks about, being depression, being anxiety. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, I have anxiety. Oh my gosh, I have depression. But without really understanding, can you sort of maybe explain and help us understand what those ones that everybody's always talking about, like just to break them down for us?
Yeah, sure. So depression is a mood disorder, and that basically means that your brain is not functioning at the capacity it should or in the ways that it should. Considering what is normal to you and normal to your society. So when a person is depressed, we refer to them having a low mood, sadness, irritability, fatigue, insomnia, lack of appetite. In some instances, you eat a bit more than you usually would, but you shut yourself out from the world because there's a lack of what I like to refer to as the happy hormone, being serotonin, that your brain is releasing. So all mental health disorders are an imbalance of the hormones or neurotransmitters. How technical can I be?
Please be technical, because it's going to help us understand also. Yeah.
The neurotransmitters that are being released by your brain. So that's depression, mood disorder. And then anxiety is to do with a constant state of fear. So it shows itself differently in a lot of people. I know when I'm feeling anxious. Note, I said when I'm feeling anxious.
Not when you have anxiety.
Not when I have anxiety.
Okay,
exactly. When I'm feeling anxious, my stomach is not okay. My bowel movement not okay. And otautla sounds discomfort. For some people, their movements are always shaking, you know. For some people, they are fixated on one thing. So it's a fixation of a specific event when you are feeling anxious. Now, when you have the disorder, it's not limited to something specific. It can be anything. You wake up in the morning and you feel so anxious, but you're busy like tapping your leg, you know? So it's to do with fear. Yeah.
So they all fall under mental disorders, because there's eating disorders as well, where people don't eat very well, or they eat too much or too little.
Yeah.
Those all also fall under mental disorders.
Yes, we have a plethora of them. We have sexual disorders, we have mood disorders, we have psychotic disorders, we have personality disorders. There's a lot of them. Okay. Yeah.
So when it comes to things like bipolar, how would you describe it? Because at times we're dealing with people like that, and we don't even know the type of support we need to give them or how we need to handle it. Can you sort of maybe give us an insight into that?
Right. So bipolar is also a mood disorder because your mood fluctuates. And we have two different types of bipolar. When you're in a depressed mood, and then when you're manic. So when you're manic, you are the opposite of depressed. You're so happy, you're so energetic, but the drop is somewhat sudden, right? But I also have to say it's very difficult to diagnose because a lot of overlaps in the disorder. And maybe just before we continue, as a carer for somebody that is dealing with mental health issues or has already been diagnosed with a certain illness, it's very hard, right? You have a lot that you deal with, but it doesn't negate the fact that Motionu needs support. And without the support, there's no way that they can get better. There's no way that they can really function. So the best way to help and to navigate mental illnesses is to be supportive and ask questions. How am I supposed to deal with this? Also admit, maybe not to the person, but to your support system, okay, this is a bit much for me. I also need help, because it does get like heavy.
It does get heavy.
Yeah, it does.
And also even for the people that are probably taking care of you at home, they don't know how to handle it. Also for you, it's a lot. But also one thing for sure is mental health and substance abuse are often linked. Can you also fill us in about the link between mental health and substance abuse?
Okay. Okay. The substance abuse often is a result of a mental health illness. Often, not all the time. Sometimes it happens the other way around. The reason is that people self-medicate. So, you're already not okay, but you maybe haven't sought help. You haven't explored what's going on. So you decide, I need a drink.
I see.
You know? Just to take the edge off. Shot.
Or maybe to okay, now I need to sleep. Let me take one so that I can sleep properly.
I need to smoke something just to calm. That's self-medication. And it becomes an issue, substance abuse, when you do that one too many times. Right?
I see.
Yeah. So, hangat ihle ko bane motho a santsana le mathata, so wa self-medicate. These numbing agents we have.
I see.
Exactly.
This would also include hard drugs, alcohol, whatever that can numb your pain at the time.
Soft drugs. And a lot of people forget caffeine, sugar, nicotine. Those are drugs.
Really?
Yeah.
So if every time I feel like some sweet, it means there could be an underlying issue.
Something not always.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But it's becoming something that we are researching. It is dangerous.
And there is something. Because also it would be, now we're going to think our grandmothers and grandfathers they are not okay. Because half the time when you go, they're always
that.
like, hey, bring me something. Something.
It takes the edge off. So with substance use, hona le a release of pleasure. I get the hormone man leading neurotransmitters. So we have what we call dopamine, which is the pleasure hormone neurotransmitter. When you take a sip of that drink, hona le a rush that you get, and you're like, right? Now it becomes abuse when you need more of that. The more you take, the more your tolerance builds. The more you need to sustain that same.
I see. And then because now, like you're saying, one too many becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And the most prevalent disorders in the country, or that everybody always talks about, would be depression and anxiety. Can you also tell us how they contribute to addiction? Do they have any effect to how a person gets addicted to substances?
Yes, they do. I get it. When you are feeling depressed, your mood is low. So you need something to get it back up. You need to be the life of the party again. So maybe when you indulge in a substance, whether it's alcohol or drugs, whatever, you get that va-va-voom back. You're like, oh, when I'm like this, I feel good.
I feel better.
So let me
keep doing it more and more.
And then with anxiety, well, what I've seen a lot, especially Haimonan, is that people will smoke a lot of marijuana because they say it
calms them down.
Calming,
I
right?
see.
But for some people, drugs actually have the opposite effect. So some will take the drug. For a while, it feels good, but then it switches up on you, and then you start feeling anxious when you take it, or you start feeling depressed when you take it. So it's like that.
Oh, so
back and forth.
You don't have like a thing to saying it always treats people like this because some take it differently.
Your body will definitely respond differently to something.
I see.
We're not all the same.
And then there's a lot of misconceptions, and some are very common about when it comes to addiction and mental health. Because some people would think, why get this? You could easily just let it go. Why are you acting like, you can stop smoking. It's not that deep, What are some of those biggest misconceptions that you've come across as you're maybe dealing with patients?
I think the biggest misconception is that people don't think of addiction as a disease. And it's a disease, a mental health disease sometimes, if you will, most times, because the reason a person gets to the point of addiction is because there's something deeper that's going on. Maybe an issue that hasn't been resolved, that led to depression, that maybe was traumatic, So the biggest misconception, it's a disease.
It's a disease.
And hamotanali disease, there's no way you can say why it gets this.
True.
Right?
True. Let's say for a normal folk back at home watching, they're thinking, no man, but this guy just smokes weed because he wants to be cool. Would we say that can still classify as a disease? Or he's just trying to be cool?
Okay, maybe we should also highlight that some people... tricky. Some people are addicted, but maybe haba namatata amakalo. Sometimes it's very rare, right? But you just enjoy the drug. We're not promoting anything. But sometimes people will take, for example, cocaine and say it makes them energetic. And they don't stop because they need to work or something. It keeps on going. So sometimes, because people don't have the education and the understanding of what's going on, so they just need to be educated and guided into, hey, this is what's actually happening. So let's not be ignorant.
I see.
Yeah.
The education, which is also what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And at times you look at somebody, let's say you have a cousin, a brother, a friend, a sister, whoever it is, that maybe their father or their mother used to be addicted and then they are addicted as well. Would we say genes contribute, or maybe the environment contribute to addiction?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to study addiction, like scientists and psychologists carry out studies with twins. Maybe they'll separate the twins. So one twin will live with a different parent, maybe somewhere else, right? So what they find is if the twin that's exposed to somebody that maybe, let's say, smokes cigarettes, and just a substance use relaxed environment, they are more likely to indulge and maybe get addicted than the other twin that's not exposed to such an event. So, yes, the genes play a role to a certain extent, but the environment affects epigenetics, affects how the genes are expressed. So, haiba kili tlokotsing, chances of me getting addicted are quite high.
Oh, so it may be genetically I could have that gene that
Eh.
could push me to addiction.
But
and
maybe
then
you're not.
and then I don't if my environment is okay. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't say it like that.
Yeah, if your environment is okay, you're gonna be okay, right?
So are we saying maybe most of the times it's based on the environment? Like the environment is the one that sort of sparks it.
Most times,
I see.
yeah,
I
most
see.
times the
I see.
environment determines a lot. Yeah.
And can we say maybe trauma at an early age also can contribute? Because I think we don't talk a lot about trauma, and people always think maybe trauma it has to be the big one. Maybe like we had, let's say, a tsunami, or where you know there's something, a car accident, you know,
Yeah.
a loss of a loved one, and then some other small traumas that people experience each and every day.
Like what?
Well, in my opinion, I could be
Okay.
wrong
Yeah, I'm
by saying
listening.
it's a trauma. So at times, say when you break something in the house, you know that there's always a beating, or when with every confrontation comes a beating, right?
Right.
So that could traumatize you enough. Maybe at times when you instead of you confronting things, then you'd rather. That's when people say, "Ke tlo mo nwella pele." Then once they have a drink, maybe they can be like, "Hey, the plug is here." I don't know. Is that like? Could you say that is another factor maybe?
Yeah.
When it comes to trauma.
Well, I could, but it goes back to self-medicating. Because if you have diagnosed or undiagnosed trauma and you are indulging in substances, it means that something is not right. So it's still police are really. Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is we need to get diagnosed. I must go and be told without me self-diagnosing, because chances are we're self-diagnosing on a lot of things.
Yeah, we do that a lot. And
Yeah.
it's really bad because it's not always right. Also, I must admit, Lorna, as practitioners, we won't always get it right because there's so much overlap in the disorders. So, am I saying go get diagnosed? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
saying go inquire, right? Because you might come back, maybe you don't get a diagnosis. And some people don't like the labels, but at least you will understand.
That's true.
You'll
I don't
understand.
think I want to label you addicted.
Hey,
It's
yeah.
that, ooh,
Hey, yeah,
okay, why are you fighting me, man?
exactly.
I
It
see.
feels like it's an attack.
Yeah.
But when you go seek help, you have insight. Okay? You have a better understanding of why you might be behaving the way that you are, and you might get ways to help you not behave that way because it's detrimental to you and those around you, or maybe because you're just not functioning the ways that you are used to or the ways that you'd like to. So yeah, I'm not saying go get diagnosed. I'm just saying go explore and go ask what's going on. I need help understanding.
I see.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to certain character traits or personalities, right?
Yeah.
Would we say some are prone to addiction, given that maybe at times somebody's outgoing, they're very, bubbly, outgoing person.
Life of the party.
Yeah, life of a party. And then you have somebody who's a very, who's an introvert who's always at home, always they would rather watch TV than to go to the club. So would we say there's personality traits maybe that can be prone to addiction, or is it a matter of choices?
You want me to get in trouble?
No, you won't. The people are nice at home. No, you won't.
Okay. We have this term that we use, addictive personality, right? And hare sebedisa, we mean like somebody that's prone to getting addicted to stuff. It kind of exists. It's not scientifically proven, but hangata, the people that are prone to addiction are those that are impulsive thinkers, impulsive decision makers. You don't, just because you're outgoing doesn't mean hore, you can do this. It's all about how you really think, you know? Yeah, but at the end of the day, it comes down to, I would say the main characteristic is impulsivity. And how, I don't know, but backbone, you know?
If basically you're saying if you're riding the edge of the bullet, you're just always ready to go. Chances are you might get into, things that could lead you to addiction. Because hey, let's start the car.
Chances are it's not set in stone. Yeah.
Chances are is you're prone to it because
you're exposed to a lot when you are like that. I can imagine. And we are naturally curious people or creatures. So curiosity will kill the cat.
Yeah.
Nini. Even if it doesn't kill you there.
No.
But
there's a time where curiosity will kill you. And now, obviously, there's people that are going through this, that maybe they have been diagnosed, but they don't have the right treatment or recovery, ways, that they're just, trying to figure it out. Maybe because it's too expensive, maybe to get treatment or to get support in terms of recovery. What could it be? What are some of the most effective, treatments that people can try, or recovery measures that they can take, that maybe even from at home?
From at home?
Yeah. Maybe because I'm thinking.
No, okay. Let me not do that. But let me start by saying you need professional help. You need it regardless. So some people, depending on what we're dealing with, because we can deal with a mental illness and deal with substance abuse as well at the same time. And when you come to us, we have to deal with them at the same time, right? Because they are really. So you need therapy.
I see. Therapy.
Sometimes some people need medication. But there are other things, because therapy, there's mindfulness, there's cognitive behavioral therapy, but there's also things that you can do at home to help the effects of medication and therapy, right? Yoga, exercise is a big one, like just do things that make you feel good, get creative, painting. It sounds very like, but once you start, you realize, play some cards. I don't know.
And also maybe bath and look nice, because when you look nice, you're going to feel good.
Exactly.
And when you feel good, you're going to start doing good things.
Exactly. But for some people, that's a challenge as well because of their depression. So that's why I'm saying you need to do everything all at once, because it helps you get to the other.
I see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we have a lot to talk about. There's so much that we need to unpack. I beg your pardon. Of course, we have, treatment. We want to talk about treatment, and also maybe how you can support people that are dealing with some of these issues, substance abuse being one of the biggest ones in the country. I mean, come on, mental health, who doesn't hear that every day? We're hearing people that, they committed suicide, the others, have decided to do things that you're like, oh my God. But you know what? We're unpacking all of this in a short while. Don't go anywhere. Welcome, we're still Quizy and Friends, the wellness podcast. I want to call it that because we're talking all things wellness here. We're not trying to, slay Instagram. No, not today. And I want to send a big shout out, man, to Tizozo, making sure that we sound nice like we are right now. So a big shout out to Tizozo. But I want to talk still while we're talking about treatment and recovery, because at times people think, once I've been addicted, and we're hearing stories all the time, people would get addicted to something, then a couple of years later, they stop, and then they relapse. Can somebody fully recover from an addiction?
Yes, they can, but it's an active process.
Okay.
And it does not happen overnight. I'm going to make an example. Abusive relationships. So...
Okay, no,
hear me out.
I totally hear what you're saying.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
It takes 7 times of trying to leave before a person actually leaves, right? And it's the same thing with addiction, because what you need to remember is that Mojana is sick, the brain is sick, and they need this thing to function. Without it, they can't. So with active therapy interventions, not limited to, because you can do the therapy, figure out what's going on, and then after the therapy, you go out into the world.
And then you might get addicted again.
Yeah, and then you're
because of
exposed
the
to other
environment.
things.
Yeah.
So you need to practice certain behaviors that make sure that they don't get you back to that relapse. And it's not easy, right? Because when a person, example with alcohol, right? A person that drinks alcohol every day needs alcohol every day. When they don't drink that alcohol every day, it's like your body goes into shock and you feel like you're dying. You literally feel like you're dying. You get the runs, trembles, shaking, eyesight, because your body's like, where's our thing?
Yeah, we need that thing.
We need that
ours.
thing.
I see. So, is it something that you'd say a person has to manage for life?
Yeah, for sure.
Every day, consistently.
Every day.
Then how can maybe say the people around, because at times as friends and as family members, at times we become I don't want to say losers, but the ones that will say, when somebody says, no, I need to let go of this, I don't want to drink anymore, we're like, come on.
It's just one
one drink.
Yeah.
Are you weak? What's going on?
Yeah.
And we don't even know what maybe the process was like for this person to get to that point.
Yeah.
How can we best support that?
We're really bad at, as a
nation.
Yeah, we're
or
really
as people.
We're really bad at things like that. So when a person, and most of the time we will know that this person has a problem, but we enable the problem. We need to stop doing that. But also, when you have a person that's dealing with addiction, you don't want to make them feel different. Ne? So, example, I get to your party and then you're like, no, when I here's your juice in front of everyone, I will fight. You can't tell me what to do. I will drink what I want to drink, because now it's shameful. And you doing that in front of everybody is not supporting the journey that I'm on. Put me to the side. Hey, let me know if you're okay. If it gets a bit much, I know you're trying to cut down. There's juice available, there's water, but if you feel like the urge is too strong, call me. Let's talk. So we need to approach certain things with a sensitivity, but it's not easy.
It's not.
It's not, because when you deal with a person that's dealing with addiction, it's harder for you as the support than the person dealing with it. Let me explain why. You're sober through everything. You see this person change, because addiction does change people.
Yeah.
You don't recognize them anymore, and you kind of have to mourn somebody while they're still alive.
Yeah.
That's a lot for anybody to handle.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm saying you have to be sensitive, you have to be this, I admit it's extremely difficult. It's very hard to keep on being there, to keep on trying. The biggest medicine for addiction is support. So without it, now support system, you still need the support. Yeah.
And when it comes to addiction, do we maybe have to go through things like therapy and maybe support from people around, or do medications also play a part?
Both.
Medications.
Yes, because I get an underlying issue. So the role of medication, according to me, right? My understanding.
Yeah, you don't want them to come for you.
No,
and
no,
be like,
no,
oh,
no,
she
no.
was on the podcast and said something different. I see.
Is to help regulate the biological side of psychology, really, right? I get it. We have the mind, body, and behavior. So medication regulates the hormones, but they have to go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. Yeah.
And now I want us to talk about obviously breaking the stigma, because like you were saying, at times when somebody says something, it's a bit embarrassing. It's a bit, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm such a loser. Everybody's having a drink and I'm not.
Yeah.
In this day and age, we have moments of, oh, let's take shots, everybody shots, right? And then somebody might feel like, I'm being left out, and if you're not taking a shot, or maybe everybody is having a shot and then you are not, you kind of feel shameful about it, like, hey, maybe I should take it. What for people that face the stigma, I guess, what kind of mental preparation should they have every single day before maybe they go out, or before they address certain things? What's how prepared should they be in order for them to break that little embarrassment or that shameful feeling that they have?
Your support system speaks volumes. So within that circle of friends, you should have somebody that you're able to at least talk to and say, I'm feeling a bit nervous about going to this event. Please hold my hand through this. If your friends or the places that you're going to don't understand or even try to support you, it's time to change friends. Cut them off. They are detrimental to your health. So basically, they're threatening your life with death.
And what, from your experience as a health practitioner and somebody that obviously works with these cases almost every day, why do you think there's still that much of a stigma around mental health and addiction?
Because we see it to be shameful. Every family has that one person that's dealing with some sort of addiction. Every single family. I'm trying to like, let me come to your Christmas party. I will see. So it's because we are a country of like shame, and honor. So things like that really bring shame, because when you're drunk, sometimes we do really embarrassing things. We say really. And
then some family members are going to think, oh, it's entertaining. Because we know Hangwani is going to come with all the jokes.
Exactly. With all the, and Hangwani will be intoxicated when they are, right? Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why.
Yeah, it's because it's shameful. Yeah. And also we don't understand it. Let me not leave that part out.
Is it the same case when it comes to mental health?
Yeah.
Is it a thing of the shame?
It's the shame, because we say motuahlanya. We don't say motuakul. And bohlanya le bukudi are two different things. Yeah. So when you have a family member that's deemed to be crazy because they do crazy things according to you, then swabis. Okay?
True.
It's dim and stuff.
And also family members are going to be like, now you're going to go back into hiding. You don't want to speak up about it anymore. Because now if I do say anything, they make jokes about it on TikTok at times that you'll hear parents say, hey, look, I depression. It's a depression this and that.
Yeah, I know.
And for maybe people that are watching and they're thinking, I don't know what's the first step, but I feel like something is just wrong. what do you think they should, like, what sort of help should they be seeking now? Maybe do they have to be going to, institutions that help with mental health, or, addiction spaces? What's the first step? And also, without it looking like there's that label that you were saying.
But that's us, like, doing the thing that we don't want to do with stigma, right? But it's very hard to admit that you're not okay. It's extremely hard, especially for us. Because what do you mean you're not okay? We need bread on the table.
Yeah.
So it sounds cliche, but the first step is to just say, okay, I'm not okay. Admit to yourself first. Only then can I come to Quizy and say, hey, I get sharp. And then what's going on, right? That's the most, maybe, the way that's available to most people. I would say go to the doctor. If you can, go to any general practitioner. I'm not okay. They'll refer you to where you need to go. Maybe you get the help that you need. But follow through.
Like, don't go half.
Yeah,
like, don't
follow
be in
through.
today, tomorrow.
Because it's not gonna work if you, like, 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Do we have enough of those in the country where people can go actually if they have problems like
We
that?
don't. We really don't. We don't have enough. Let me start here. Mental health practitioners is an umbrella term for a lot of people, but we don't have addiction specialists.
Oh, I see.
Like,
so at times they're just going to treat the surface value of something, not knowing that.
we don't have specialists. And that risks a lot of misdiagnosis, mistreatment, and that can have its own, like, tragic effects, right? We don't have a rehab center.
Yeah.
We have one hospital that is in dire need of help, aka funding. The mental health space, Haimona, is very, very, very limited.
I see.
Yeah.
And from your experience, and having worked with so many people, and seeing patients almost every day, except today because we called you here, and thank you so much, and everybody that if you had a meeting, we are sorry.
It's okay.
But when you look at it, where do you see the bigger chunk of the issues that are surrounding mental health and substance abuse? Is it with men or with women? Is it males or females? Because another thing is, men are taught not to speak up.
Yeah.
Where country, things like that. Where do you see it more prevalent?
With my patients, I've never treated a woman that has substance abuse issues. Listen, I'm not saying they don't exist. They're there.
Yes,
but for
I'm
me,
like,
my list hard. All the time. And it's for that specific reason, right? But I also think we can attribute it to the fact that it's easier for a man to come in because of substance abuse than it is for a woman to come in, because we don't treat people that have substance abuse, women that have substance abuse issues the same way we treat men with substance abuse issues, right? The same way it's easier for a woman that's dealing with depression, for example, to come in than for a man that's dealing with depression to come in, So I think that's the reason why it's like that. Yes, maybe it's a fact hore bontate are more, prone and prevalent in the substance abuse. But I also think it's because it's so shameful for women to come in and say, I drink too much, I smoke too much, I sleep around too much, because that's also sex addiction.
Oh, yes, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, so there is sex addiction.
Yes,
Oh my God.
there is sex addiction.
I want us to say a story for another day. We'll talk about it, because here's where my thing is. I don't know if you're ready to speak. Did you prepare about it?
Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot like that. But also, when is it a problem? If I'm, engaged in sexual activities 3 times a day.
No. There's a difference between enjoying sex and being addicted to sex. There's a difference between having a high sex drive and being addicted.
Isn't that what people always say?
No.
Like, oh my gosh, now I'm addicted to sex. And then you're like, ooh, okay.
We listen, we don't judge.
True. But like, what would you say, like, with regards to that, when you're saying there's a difference between addiction and pleasurable coitus, right? Where is the difference?
Okay, anything becomes a problem when it starts to interfere with your daily functioning. So if I can't come to the podcast because I need to have sex now, and without that, then I can't sit here, then
it's a problem.
But if, I feel like, okay, it can wait, then I'm fine. I just have a high sex drive. If we need to now be something is not right all the time. No.
Whew. Okay.
Yeah, sip on that.
That's why I need to sip on that. But when we talk about sex addiction, because a lot of times there's a thing of men, are the ones that, because they go, they're the ones that will, they're the ones
Court.
that do the approaching.
Yeah.
They will court, right? When it comes to that, is it mostly men or women, or is it a balance when it comes to sex addiction? Yeah.
My patients with sexual disorders are mainly men. But again, I think it's because of the shame, because women are not very sexually empowered in this country. So, I might be dealing with some stuff, but really I'm going to be scared to go because you understand? Exactly.
I see.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you're saying, now men probably come to you more often. How can we now open up a space where it becomes a safe space for men, women, children,
everybody?
Yeah, for us to have a conversation about mental health without it looking like, oh my gosh, because it's not. It's a dis-ease the same way.
Exactly.
And I keep telling people, I remember on radio, my thing has always been, at times you get on radio, you just got a death of a loved one. There's no therapist around the corner to go
consolation,
in, consult 2 minutes before you go on radio. You go into it and you just continue with life like nothing happened, right? So a lot of times people just do that. We take things, throw it to the side and keep moving, right? How can we now create a safe space for such conversations to be had? What
you're saying, I think, is already a start, right? Obviously, no judgment. We need to foster an approach, but again, we need to be educated to get to a point where we don't judge as much as we do. We also need to implement mental health policies in the country 100%, but in our companies as well. So, Quizy and friends, Lena, psychologist.
Well.
But you understand what I mean. Yeah. How do you cater to your employees' well-being? Team building and all of that is fine.
But team building also doesn't address the emotional side of things.
But I know, like, maybe the bigger corporate companies, the banks, they have a system that works for things like that. So it's available to you. So, more employers should really consider having those. It sounds like a privilege, but you can have one mental health day leave, things like that, just to take some time off, because we already have compassionate leave.
Actually take it as it is.
As it is.
No, I can just fake a sick leave. No. Like, take it as a day for you to go and maybe offload.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
We need to start thinking in that kind of way.
Let's talk coping mechanisms, right? We have a lot of people that are struggling on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Without even realizing it. Or at times I'm aware that I have a problem, but I gotta keep going because now I don't have the right finances. I don't have the right support. What are some of the coping mechanisms that we can bring in from, workspaces and, from friendship groups,
Yeah.
just so that we keep going.
I've come to realize that not everyone has access to a great support system, which is unfortunate because the way we get through life is by communicating and talking about what's going on. It's free. I can call you and say, I'm not okay. Let's meet up for coffee.
Or even let's go
for a
stand
walk
outside and
Hey,
watch the stars.
exactly.
Yeah.
Both the sunset, So those are the most available coping mechanisms. Just vent, cry, and then exercise. Let me tell you guys,
Please break it down.
exercise, life changing. Okay. After you exercise, your body releases endorphins. Those endorphins, well, you need to, maybe do it a bit more, like consistently. Those endorphins are life changing. You feel good. You have energy. You're not lazy. Also, you moved your body. It does something. It balances or rebalances.
I promise you, if Her Majesty is watching, it's like, go
Yeah,
Tebello, go.
exactly.
Go Tebello, go.
Exactly.
Because she's one person who's very
Active.
much about exercising.
Yeah, it's very underrated, but life changing. So go for that walk, take that run, go for that hike. Of course, if it's available to you. Otherwise, stretch in your house, dance, move your waist. There's a lot of trauma that's stored in the waist and in the hips. So
Sure.
wind that waist.
I promise you, I can already tell people that are taking it in the wrong context. When you say move your waist,
Guys, trauma. Okay, trauma.
exercise your waist, because now they're thinking other forms of exercising the
Well,
waist.
if that's available to you too, then go
Now, you see,
ahead.
now it's gonna-
We're
it's
not
gonna-
contradicting ourselves.
But it's gonna push us to the
Okay.
addiction.
I'm done.
Because now, if you say just move your waist, I might think other ways. And when you say go
Quizy.
dance, they might think dancing in the club.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Dance in the house that you live in. Listen to the radio.
do whatever that just keeps your
Yeah,
body
but you need to
moving.
move your body.
I
You
see.
need to move your body.
I see.
Yeah.
And ideally, it's about exercising. That's why
Yeah.
they'll say maybe
Yeah.
put 10,000 steps
Hey,
every day.
but I want to say, hi Monana, some of these things are a luxury, right? Because when I live who saying Kathri, 2 hours to get to work, or pay late, they get home, they have to repeat the process again. There's no time to wind your waist. There's no time to take a walk because you walk for your life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I know somebody that's watching right now is probably thinking, okay, what is something that I can take away from Tebello today? A quotable, something that I can maybe tweet right now and say, oh, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
This is you putting me on the spot.
Yeah, or just a piece of advice that somebody can, take away, take it with them throughout maybe this entire week. As they're starting the week tomorrow, what's something that you can say, here we go, this one piece of advice I promise you when it comes to substance abuse and mental health, try this is your thing to go with.
Maybe let me just generalize it to well-being. It's okay to sit with your feelings. Uncomfortable, but it's okay. Sometimes when you're going through it, the lump in your throat, it's not because it's because there's something that needs to be released, right? Sometimes that's tears, sometimes it's harsh words, whatever it is, let it happen. Sit with it and feel it. It may come in waves, ride the waves, and take it easy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relax. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. And I know my team is gonna fight me for this, but I want to ask this one question because it just relates to somebody, right? I'm not gonna say who because I know if
Okay.
he or she's watching. I don't want to give it away who it is.
All
ne?
right. Yeah, yeah.
But is it a disorder when people cannot really be out of relationships? Is it
It's not a disorder.
Yeah, but in a libuthatanyana, man.
Yes, it's to do with like it's a
Maybe
topic for another
abandonment
day.
issues.
Well, maybe, but more attachment issues,
Oh.
right? That's a whole conversation. Yeah,
I see.
attachment issues and being secure with yourself, in yourself. Yeah, hey, that one is a deep one.
It's okay. We need to come back and talk about something.
Yeah, because
Eliona.
it's biology, psychology, society, everything. Yeah.
Well, Tebello, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate, and surely I'm going to call you back again.
Yes, please.
Because now also when the team is to release,
Yes.
I'm going to tell them, write your problems.
Exactly.
Tebello will come and answer them. But no, man, thank you so much. And obviously people are watching at home. They would want to maybe get in contact with you. Maybe parents are thinking, I want to take my child to actually see Tebello and take it further, pay it forward also. Where can they find you? What are some of the services that they can get from you? Obviously, apart from you being a clinical psychologist, what other things can they find from you?
What other things, Quizy?
Well, I'm saying maybe you can you can therapy, you can medicate me, maybe.
Very important. I'm so sorry to the team, but mental health practitioners are not allowed to prescribe medication.
Oh.
So I can't come and give you antidepressants. I can't, I'm not allowed to do that. Only doctors and psychiatrists, because they're doctors, can. So if you went to a counselor and they said, "Nga be complex, my darling, don't go back." I'm standing on that one. Don't go back.
People are running out of business because of you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which
because
is good,
then
which is good.
we have the problem. I get medication changes your brain design essentially. So the medication might be the wrong one. If it alters something that was completely okay, and then you come, you have a misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
I continue on that, and now I have to go back. Like, so don't let them.
Yeah, like never take any sort of
Only doctors.
Not even a pharmacist. A pharmacist, all they can do is just give you medication. No, because
I get a pharmacist. No, you know what I mean.
No, but at times, because I might get to a pharmacy and then say, "Oh, my doctor told me that I have anxiety, so I need medication for anxiety." Can you see? So they shouldn't, unless it's a
prescribed. There are some anxiety relief things that you can get over the counter, but they're not classified as
anxiety medication.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Quick one. Where do we find you? Where do we find you? Calls, office? Maybe I have a child at home who I feel like is not okay, or maybe I am not okay. My mom is not okay.
Yes.
Maybe my team is not okay. Yes. I need to get my photographer, your services as well.
Okay.
So
my number, my what?
Where people can reach you really? It could be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
no. Okay.
Office, landline, you name it.
You can find me at Tazana Office Park. Just give me a call on.
Yeah.
Okay. 57.
No, but nobody's gonna sue us.
Oh, that's
you
fine.
Advertised. No.
57809663, and then we can set up an appointment.
57809663. 9663. All right, and they can set an appointment. You see every patient.
I see everybody from developmental, like neurodevelopmental disorders, substance abuse, geriatric disorders. Come all. You're absolutely welcome.
Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I told you we're going to have a very a meaningful conversation. We're talking all things wellness. We're getting into a time when we're saying, guys, come on, we're growing up every day. We need to start doing things differently, change our lives in a certain way. And for Tebello to have come here, absolutely appreciate. And to the rest of the team, we absolutely appreciate. Sound, camera, behind the scenes, all of that. And I see my cameraman frowning, so I'm stressed.